Hi and welcome. My name is Sam Shukur Isam. I'm a senior design architect, licensed in Ontario, Alberta, and BC. Today, I'd like to talk about the air quality inside your homes. Um, and for that, I would have to go to the whiteboard to tell you about a story. Probably it happened to me about 10 days ago when I was reviewing one of the renovation projects that we did with Dan Bursby, my general contractor, and the owner, who wanted to build a sort of a passive house, but it's for an existing building. So he was very aggressive in asking for the program that passive house has, which is the interfit uh, interfit program, meaning to take the old building and upgrade it to the level of a passive house with a minimum energy consumptions for heating and cooling. But that's besides the issue. I want to tell you how much indoor air quality is important, especially these days when we have um, many people, most people, I would say, staying home. The statistics before the pandemic was that around 60% of the time people stay at home, and more than probably the rest would be at work. Now, because of the pandemic, this health crisis, and this impasse that humanity is passing through these days, very hard times, most people are staying home, and that creates uh, that magnifies actually the problem, if there's any, or magnifies the magnitude or the importance of the indoor air quality, the air quality of the spaces that we live in at home. So without going too much into the causes and the chemicals, and I want to take you over just quickly to talk to you about what me and Dan, I wouldn't say argued, but we kind of heated discussion about a certain thing. So let's go there and I'll explain exactly what I mean. So uh, this is me talking to Dan about this vent. And this is the house that I'm referring to. This is the addition that I've added as a design, and of course there was a need from the owner, as I said, to have it upgraded to the passive house level. That we're still working on that scheme, uh, but for that particular reason, when he asked me, "What do you think?" I said, "What is this, Stan?" And he said, "This is the vent, the indoor, sorry, the intake, uh, air intake for this ERV. The ERV is energy recovery unit. He doesn't have a furnace. He wants just to have an ERV, which mixes the hot air that is exhausting, that exiting the house with the fresh air that is being passed through this vent indoors, and through that exchange, some of the heat will be extracted and given back to the house, while the bad air, like full of CO2 and other uh, allergens and other material, would exit the house from another vent. Now, I said this is if this is an air indoor uh, intake, so this is the wrong location, Dan. And he asked me, "What do you suggest? Why are you saying that?" I said, "Because this level has a lot of dust, and not only because of the construction, but naturally the air at the lower portions is heavier, and also at this portion the air is filled with dust because its proximity to the ground and to the dust that we have already on the ground, whether the patios or the streets or the asphalt, or even the gardens, those green foliage actually attracts dust for a long time, especially that we cannot clean them. So the level of dust at this the levels of dust at this level, or this 2 3 meters, is much higher than the upper level. So what he suggested, actually, he said, okay, while we're still working on it, no problem. I'll deal with it. How about moving it to here? And I immediately asked him, what is this? And he said, this is a plumbing stack. And I say, you want to put an air intake next to a plumbing stack. What do you think will happen? So, without going into the argument, uh, I said the best place for an intake would be here, and I want to do it in a different color because the air here is much cleaner. Now this fume is going that way, and this dusty area, not, not necessarily dusty, but it has more dust content than the upper portion. So this is a very good location that he accepted, luckily. And I said also, this has to be operable windows so you can reach and clean it, because this has to be kept clean all of the time. So this was my story with Mr. Dan, and I just wanted to tell you that how important this, and how this wasn't on the drawings of our mechanical engineer, unfortunately, because on 2D they just mention air intake for the ERV, never mention uh, at what height. And if your contractor happens to be not familiar with the building science, then it could it could happen that they put it at the height level, or the door height level, or the lintel level, and then that is not uh, advised. That is not a good location to put an indoor uh, intake uh, for the ERV or HRV, or even a normal furnace. So this is my short story for today, and I hope that you can remember that when you are embarking on doing your renovation, not to put the intake, the fresh air, and to take care of the source of your fresh air. Uh, I'm more into not sealing the space, even during the winter times, to let the fresh air in, to exchange that, get rid of the allergens, and also the CO2, or animal dander if you have a pet. All of these could impact if you have people with respiratory problems, health problems, elderly, or children in particular. This is quite important, and I sincerely advise you to pay more attention to the fact that your indoor air, especially these days, because you spend most of your time indoors, to take care of it and not let it change your filters as well for the furnace. Even if you using AC, the filter is still working. So make sure that you pull out the filter and you change it every 3 months. So that's my little video for today. Uh, Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks a lot.